我爱北京天安门，天安门上海洋圈圈。我爱北京天安门，天安门上海洋圈. Sounds like everything works just fine. Check this out! There's new stuff! I'm hyped! Jeebus. So that's the old spitters. Oh! The Drifter! I'm not sure how you're on this planet, why you're on this planet. You look kind of like the guy that blows up in the story. Spoilers, I guess, but really, it's not. In the Mushroom Forest section of Risk of Rain 1, if you go to the far bottom right, there's a chance that there is a survivor in heavy quotes, that has been infected by the little wasps. And when you interact with him, he explodes into 3 of them. And presumably dies. Which is suspiciously kind of like a survivor unlock, except that he dies. And all you could really tell was that they were a little bit larger and a little kind of wider than a normal character. Like a normal character you would play that would normally be between 2 and 4 kind of pixels. And he, his arm alone would be kind of 2-ish. So he kind of vaguely looked larger than a normal character. This kind of gives me vibes of them just because they're a little bit bigger. So I'm interested in what they do. This is really cool though. It looks kind of like a scavenger in playstyle. He just bashes with his backpack. Blunt force, one woman's trash, another treasure. Twash. It's a female! We've got another wife, another female, let's go! Woman's trash. Just beats the shit out of them. Suffocate! Do you just put them in your bag? You're coming with me. How big is this bag? What? You're coming too. Oh, it's an execute. It's an Elder Lemurian. What the heck? Now that's packing space I wish I could achieve. She's Beebus Jeeben. How big? It's an execute. How big is this bag? What? A weapon of love. Interesting. What the heck, dude? Salvage, don't forget to share. Scrap cube. Apparently you can throw them and they do damage. Salvage. Don't forget to share. Does it just let you drop items? It looks like you can drop temporary items for your friends. So that's interesting, but seems pretty bad in solo, unless you can also pick them up. Which it doesn't look like. They don't show us though. Clean up, line them up, knock them down. Not entirely sure what that skill does. Character looks ridiculous. Very fun. We get 15 minutes of the rest of this though. What? Well, this is fine. False multiplayer, no damage, or false PvP, no damage numbers came up. Huntress is dead on this menu, no!
And welcome to DevThoughts 31, I hope you enjoyed that short introduction to one of the brand new survivors
Before he finishes this, a uniquely supportive playstyle generates Scrap with Blunt Force, which is the basic attack, and Suffocate, which is the execute, in order to salvage them into a powerful bundle of temporary items for you or your allies. Okay, so you can pick them up as well. So that makes them really good. And so you can generate Scrap by using the basic attack and the execute. You can make the Scrap cubes and then salvage those? Or is it like a salvage meter and you can either make Scrap cubes or salvage? I'm wondering. There's skins, let's go! There's more than one now.
Now let's take a closer look at Drifter and her abilities. Drifter is a resourceful brawler who got more than she bargained for when she stowed away on the ill-fated Contact Light. Luckily, she has some
Okay, so they're like Bandit, they're another stowaway.
unique skills to not only handle the dangerous inhabitants of Petrichor 5, but she also has some powerful tools to empower herself and her fellow survivors. Key to Drifter's power is her ability to utilize scrap generated by her primary ability, Blunt Force. This may appear as useless rubbish to other survivors, but to Drifter it's a valuable resource.
So it's just, so it is just that meter under her, is just how much scrap you have.
Blunt Force is a 3-hit combo melee attack that hits enemies in a wide area. Each successful hit generates lumps of scrap which litter the floor near Drifter. Gather these quickly to fuel your more powerful abilities.
And I would assume that the first bar is how much you need to generate a cube, and the second bar is how much you need to generate salvage.
Blunt Force isn't the only way to generate scrap. Drifter's utility ability, Suffocate, also fills your meter without having to collect scrap from the environment. This large melee strike stuns and does 200% damage. Any enemy below 20% health when attacked with Suffocate is immediately consumed and converted into scrap.
And it's an execute, as I thought.
Once you have gathered enough scrap, you have everything you need to fuel Drifter's other two abilities, including her secondary attack, Cleaner. This ability tosses out some of your scrap as piercing projectiles in a short-range burst. Imagine a trash-powered shotgun that makes mincemeat of even the toughest enemies.
So you just get a disposable missile launcher as your ability.
Finally, her special ability makes her a true powerhouse on the battlefield, not only to herself but to her allies as well. When your scrap meter is 75% full, you gain access to salvage.
Yeah, that's so that second bar is salvage.
Drifter to generate 4 temporary items. These can be collected by any player, making her the survivor with the strongest support abilities in Risk of Rain. Have your teammates not been as fortunate as you when rolling the dice at Chant Shrines? Create some temporary items to share among your team before facing the tough challenges that await you. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from just taking all the items for yourself and becoming the most powerful survivor on the planet.
I wonder...
To success as Drifter is to keep churning out temporary items as quickly as you can. They only last a short time in your inventory, so continuing to replace them as they expire will maintain your strength.
It looks like they last about a minute, maybe? That's pretty good.
A trio of alternate abilities to unlock. But I won't spoil those for you today. You can discover them yourself when Risk of Rain Returns is released later this year.
And you have alternate abilities as well. Oh, generated 3 reds. That's busted. Substandard duplicator.
Hey guys, my name is Chris Christodoulou and I'm the composer for Risk of Rain Returns. I'm a video game...
It's the boy! It's the boy!
Composer for almost 10 years now, and in fact the original Risk of Rain was one of my very first projects back in 2013. When Hobo came to me with this idea of remaking Risk of Rain, I was very excited because it would mean that I would get to share that original music from 10 years ago with a brand new group of players, but also it would give me this rare opportunity to, you know, revisit that musical world and actually expand on it. So the development of pieces in Risk of Rain games, what I do is I tend to focus on the macro level, the form of the piece and the sonic palette of the piece, and in fact the entire soundtrack. Give the player a sense of awareness, a sense of excitement to explore, to keep on fighting,
Yeah.
and hopefully inspire some awe and even fear for the unknown of this, this unknown planet. How I try to achieve this is by utilizing these long-form compositions in which I essentially try to tell a little story, have a little narrative arc, as abstract as that may be, because we're talking about music. Now, when it comes to the practical things, usually I tend to lay down some main motive or decide on some drum beat or something like that, like a core thing that will be the foundation of the track, and then build a harmonic world around that, and then build a melodic world on top of that. And usually, while I do tend to have a form in mind, I'm very open and let the composition take me to where it wants to go, because sometimes it deviates from my own original plan, and I just, let it go there, and that usually is how it's done. Deciding how we will treat the original soundtrack was a discussion that we had with Hopu, and at the end we figured that it would be best to just take the soundtrack as it is and bring it into the game. The original players would appreciate that,
Yes.
and the
Very
new
much
players
so.
are not familiar with the soundtrack, so it's already new to them, so there's no point in going and doing changes arbitrarily. The only cosmetic, so to speak, change that has happened is a touch of remastering, and that has happened for two reasons. One is to bring the tracks into modern day standards, and
Sure.
to at the same time match them with the new material that is coming into the game, but also
And give them a new
to
kind of coat of
some
paint.
degree correct some, let's say, less informed mastering choices that have been made in the past. Some people will not even notice.
Yeah.
Some people that will notice hopefully will find it an improvement.
I'm excited.
Other than that, musically the tracks have not been touched.
There definitely was better tracks than. There definitely was tracks that were better than others.
It was a very
So-
interesting challenge for me to write new music for the game. I had to put myself into a frame of mind and conditions in which the original soundtrack was created, and I did that especially for the intro animation piece, which was then later expanded into a proper piece to be used in a boss fight within the game.
Clowning
It was really
around
fun
over
to do
there.
that, use the old techniques, so to speak. For the other pieces, every one of them has a different story on its approach. We have a new menu theme, which is a variation of the original theme, but instead of having this mysterious vibe, now it focuses more on the adventure aspect, the exploration aspect.
Interesting.
Then we've done something that hasn't been done before in the Risk of Rain music verse, so to speak, which is invite guests to create music for the game.
Ooh.
So I invited my friend Damian Maravunac, who is the composer for Serious Sam series and the Talos Principle series, and I gave him one of the pieces and told him, here, take this and do a cover, and the cover he did is amazing and I love it, and brings the original piece under a brand new light, which I enjoy very much, and hopefully
That's exciting.
you will too.
I kind of liked the
Then
mysterious
a very special collaboration with
sound, though.
Greek singer-songwriter Maria Papageorgiou. I told her, do a cover of this piece, and then I took her cover and sort of remixed it, and then we worked on it.
I'm never gonna be
together
able to pronounce any of these
to
last names.
finalize it. And this is a
Not all of
special
them.
track because it's something that is very unique sonically for the Risk of Rain music verse. I'm very, very excited to share it with you and see if you like it. Well, this is a question that should be addressed to the players, I guess, but to
Old
the degree
logo.
that I can think of an answer, I would say the reason is exactly because we're doing these long-form compositions which have a little story of their own, and that story superimposed on the game's lore, but most importantly on the individual player's narrative at the moment
They're
that
all
they're
muted.
playing. The experience is very, very much tethered. So I think that you can be on the same level and fight the same enemies, but the piece of music that plays can be in a very, very different point, a very dynamic, like an uplifting solo, or you can be at the intro, and this will paint a very different light over your actions. In opposition to, having a 1 minute loop that just plays over and over and eventually fades in the background.
Yeah.
Instead, this creates very, very strong connections and powerful moments which are memorable for the players. And I think that's part of the reason why the music resonates with the players.
I really like that
Hopefully,
it dips into the foreground, like just is happening right now.
To some degree.
I like that they're going to give us both old and new tracks. I hope we can select individually.
As far as future music is concerned, particularly within the video game realm, there are a couple of projects in the works right now. One is the new Hopu project, which is something that I'm very, very excited about because it's going to be so different from what we've done in the past, and I really can't wait to dive into it and start writing for it. And the other is something that, most of you might be a little bit more familiar with.
Interesting.
And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I just want to take this opportunity to
I just want to go again because
expressed works right now creates very, very strong connection. That's part of the reason why the music resonates with the players. Hopefully, the other reason is that the music is a good, at least to some degree. As far as future music is concerned, particularly within the video game realm, there are a couple of projects in the works right now. One is the new Hopu project, which is something that I'm very, very excited about because it's
right. So that's the new game that they sort of teased that they were starting work on. Hopu was moving on to a new game, while Risk of Rain 1 Returns was going on, and they were leaving Risk of Rain 2 with a new producer to theoretically develop, I think, a new DLC for. We'll see if anything comes of that or not. Risk of Rain 1 Returns, they're obviously working on, but I don't think too much is left. I certainly don't think their entire focus is on it, especially anymore. So I think this is the new project that I feel like I remember hearing about, which I don't think we have learned anything about.
Going to be so different from what we've done in the past, and I really can't wait to dive into it and start writing for it. And the other is something that, most of you might be a little bit more familiar with.
Because Hopu has also made things like Deadbolt.
I just want to take this opportunity to
I wonder what the familiar thing is.
One of you who has expressed, kind words and appreciation.
I think Hopu has also made like there was also like a stealth sort of ninja game. I think they also made.
I hope that you enjoy the new music that we bring into the game, and if you're a brand new player, the original music that has been there since 2013.
Exciting.
And that's it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
I wonder if it's going to be like the stages.
For your continued support. All of us at Hopu Games are very excited for you to play Risk of Rain Returns soon.
Ooh.
In the meantime, don't forget to join our Discord and follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or TikTok to keep up to date with the latest on the game. All of the links are down in the description. In the next Dev Thoughts, we'll be taking a look at the final new character dropping into Risk of Rain Returns. Bye for now.
Interesting. We got another 4 minutes. I assume they're just going to show us a run. Bandit, Artificier, and Enforcer, that looks like. There's something so cute and comfy about the fact that they're wearing like a big hoodie over their survival suit. Yeah, there's Enforcer. Got a bit of a glow up. He looks less chunky, a little more stout. It's still Risk of Rain 1. It is most certainly still Risk of Rain 1. Dang, got salvaged from 2 Lemurians, huh? They were not kidding about just constantly producing. I like that you can see the little animations of your teammate in the corner. Kind of weird that Artificier does climb the ladders rather than just fly. They look like they're much higher damage in this game. That's nice. But gained nothing. I love this music. The little stone golems are new. Oh jeez. Oh god. It's still magma worm. I wonder. No, it's just the minimum they had minimum salvage. They had minimum scrap and they still got 3 red items from that. 3 red items from that salvage. That's crazy. I don't know if that's a thing during the boss or they were just insanely lucky. Oh, Artificier still has their basic kit, I see. Flamethrower. You can still move during it, that's pretty dope. Everything seems about right. I see the shrines are still terrible. They've failed that shrine like 3 times. Ooh, the teleporter looks cool now. We only get to see the first stage. I didn't see much else. They might have capped Bandit's attack speed now? I don't know. Or maybe they're just going slow. I don't know. Enforcer's damage looks better. That looks pretty dope. I'm excited for that. It is very much just Risk of Rain 1 again. I'm very excited for that. Also excited for the Mewtwo up there. I'm so ready for Mewtwo. And Pikmin 4 is coming in a couple days. I'm probably just gonna go pick it up in person. I might pre-order it. I might not. We'll see. We'll see. It's like a day from now. Pre-ordering is kind of late, but you know, take what you can get. You know what I'm saying? That's super high. Let me just check here and make sure. Yeah. Rubbish. Interesting. It's a different look in this one. Interesting. So there's two kinds of scrap usage. It looks like there's two kinds of cleanup, which like sends out the little projectiles. There's one that's just like a shotgun of little projectiles forward, and it looks like there's an alternate that sends out the missiles. Unless that was an item that I didn't know, but I didn't see a new one. And so there's going to be two versions of that, and it looks like there's also going to be Scrap Cube that you can do at some point. Which will be interesting. There's also a new enemy in the there's a new enemy in the Steam page. It's like a little sort of like magma worm but smaller. But it's like a plasma worm. A plasmapede kind of thing. It has legs. That's interesting. A trio of alternate abilities. We can clearly see Cleanup has an alternate, Suffocate has an alternate, and Salvage has an alternate. We did see Scrap Cube, which is probably the alternative to Cleanup. We saw the missiles, which is probably an alternative to. If I had to guess, it's probably an alternative to Salvage, but we're not sure. And there's also Suffocate, which has an alternate, which could be a number of things. We don't know. We don't know. And there's just the GIF of the final new survivor that we don't know about yet, which is interessante. I'm excited for that. Other than that, there's nothing else new in it. Nerd. A dare. Alright, let me get some water, and I will come back and stream some Tears of the Kingdom.